and sing it while they are moving things. Okay, can we do it? Au sila sila mili mili ngwana wa bathu. Sila sila mili mili ngwana wa bathu. Oh, tali wa tsamaya. Lirato li fedile. Tali wa tsamaya. Lirato li fedile. Aish, ngathi sizoyiphinda ne? For the new generation, the millennials, they only know gaming. They only know gaming. All right? Let's do it for the last time. Are you ready? A one, a two, a three. Oh, sila sila mili mili ngwana wa bathu. Oh, sila sila mili mili ngwana wa. Oh, tali wa tsamaya, lirato li fedile. Tali wa tsamaya, lirato li fedile. Again, oh, tali wa tsamaya, lirato li fedile. Tali tsamaya, lirato li fedile. Ah, you are back now, I'm happy. I told you, this got nothing to do with profession. I was born with this thing. That scene. In that scene, there is a rain, there is a tire puncher. They have to change the tire. The rain. Now, remember there is a vision in what is happening. The vision is to move the bed from Johannesburg to KZN. There is a vision. They are trying to change the tire. Guess what? Ijege is not there. There is no check. Mr. Mudley. It's your time, Baba. It's your time. Please allow me to introduce Obab Mudley. Dr. Mudley, Dr. Mudley's biography is too long. I thought I have a biography. No. Hi. This man, as blind as he is, the achievements that he has done, the accolades that he has picked up. There is one sad thing about us, South Africans. We do not celebrate people while they are still alive. And that's the most sad thing. That is the most sad thing. Employment, 20 years experience both as a teacher of English and the head of the English department at the Arthur Blacksall School in Pietermaritzburg. Was the director of Optima College, program manager in the Academic Development Center at Technicon SA. Please forgive me, I'm going to skip so that we will cover time. Facilitator of workshops, public relation, authored 4 English language textbook for learners in grade 8 and 12. Now, please understand that now out of the summary of the biography, I'm doing synopsis. It's the summary. He's a lecturer, community involvement, serve as the deputy chairperson of the Council of the Disabled People, South Africa, DPSA. Involvement in higher education, serve as the chairperson of the Higher Education Disability Service Association of South Africa, HEDSA. Don't be shocked next time when you see that. Qualifications. Just before I mention few qualifications, just in addition, just to give you a cherry on top. Awards, certificate in project management, strategic management, workshop facilitation, and quality management. That is Dr. Moodley. Bachelor of Art degree from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, University Higher Diploma in Education from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Diploma in Special Education from the University of South Africa, Bachelor of Education degree from UNISA, Master of Education degree from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Doctor of Education. I think I've just now given it all. Mangiti doctor. Dr. Moodley, the stage is yours, Bob. I'm here. Step. The mic.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not going to do a presentation as such. I'm just going to share a couple of thoughts with you. The presentations are done by CEOs and people like that. And there was a CEO who was finishing a presentation, and he was so annoyed because the presentation didn't go well. And he turned to his secretary and said, "Jane, where is my pencil?" And she said, "Sir, it's behind your ear." "Jane, I'm so busy. Which ear?" Now, my topic is challenges, coping strategies, and success in my life's journey. And that's the topic that the organizers have developed for me. I'm not going to start from schooling. I'm going to start with challenges at university. Now, remember, I was at university in the 70s. No support system at all. No student support, nothing. We didn't have computers, so you walk into the lecture room with a tape recorder. And because I had 5 lectures, 45 minutes each, I naively expected that I would be able to listen to the 5 recordings in the evening. That's 5 times 45, 225 minutes, almost 4 hours. Just to listen to the recordings. What about taking down notes? Nothing. You walk into the lecture room, you sit there, you get your handouts. What do you do with the handouts? I could have put my popcorn in there, but I didn't. So I left it, and you work according to that. You work with your recordings. You have colleagues or friends, fellow students, and you try to get assistance from them. But the technique I used was really memory. A lot of my memory. I would listen to a chapter, and I would do this even today. There would be a group, and I would say to them, "Okay, we'll take a decision. You read the chapter, and I'll tell you what it's all about." And then eventually, we got to groups like that. They would read an entire chapter, and I would lead the discussion on that. Because I would memorize things. My memory was developed to such an extent that I would latch on to every paragraph and get what they call memory cues or memory pegs. The other thing I did, because I did typing at school, and I was a very, very fast typist, so even today I type very fast on a computer. I type Braille very, very fast. I'm a fast reader. In fact, I had a challenge once with someone who did speed reading, and he was lagging far behind. Now, the problem is, after qualifying with a Bachelor of Arts degree and a University Higher Diploma in Education, I did my practice teaching at a school for sighted children. I was, in fact, a matric teacher there. And so the principal and the head of department, English department, said, "We want you at our school." So I was very, very excited when I finished the university. I was on holiday then. I remember returning from a picnic with my mother and siblings, and there's a letter glued to our door. Now, remember, we're very, very poor family. There's no postal system as such. You get a care of a hotel or a shop, so you collect your letters from there. I had this letter from the department which says, "We regret to inform you that in terms of government policy at the time, we cannot employ a blind person in the public service. After qualifying with a degree and a teacher's diploma, and having been recommended by the university and the head of department and the principal of the school for me to be appointed at that school." Nothing. There was that policy, and they would stick to it. Fortunately, that situation has changed after 1994. But what did I do? I didn't sit back and say, "Well, I'm blind. They turned me down for a job," and so on. I applied for any job I could get. And I got a job as a switchboard operator at Durban Club in Smith Street, Durban. I had to be a switchboard operator, and because of my typing skills, I used to do the wine lists and menus and help arrange for porters to assist these very, very wealthy members to their rooms. So, now initially there were two of us at night. I remember I worked at night, 5 o'clock to 12, from Monday to Friday. There was a second person, but when that person left, they didn't appoint anybody else. They said because I could manage. So, again, I used my memory to memorize the guest list, because every day the guest list changes. So I had to memorize all that. Eventually, after working there for a year, I moved over to another organization. It was a little better, but not the kind of thing I wanted to do. It was public relations, organizing events and so on. I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. Until I obtained a teaching position at the Arthur Blackshaw School for the Blind, and the program facilitator has already mentioned that. Again, many of you would realize the kind of work that teachers have to do, because they have to prepare at night. There are no computers, so you type everything out. And because I needed to refer to lessons in the classroom, I had to braille it. So I had to do two things: type it out and then braille it out. Okay? But my preparations were meticulous. I had to do thorough preparation. Now I remember at that time, the school inspectors or subject advisors would come in unexpectedly. They wouldn't tell you. So it was this one day when they came along, and fortunately for me, I had mentioned to the principal the day before that after tea break, I would go to accompany my wife to the hospital. So when the subject advisor came, he asked me to go, but I said, "No, I've already prepared my lessons. I'll only go after tea as arranged." Fortunate for me, he checked my records, my preparation book, my mark book, my journal, everything. And he listened to 2 lessons. And when I returned to school, because the inspector was still there, he mentioned to the principal that I should be promoted immediately. Fortunately, I got the position as head of the English department at that school. I also received a merit notch, in other words, for outstanding service. I think the cherry on the top was really writing 4 English language textbooks, because that was my speciality. Okay? I also, as the program facilitator mentioned, did a stint at Optima. I was the director there. After which I moved to Technicon SA. I did materials development there. I used to write material. I was the researcher there. until Technicon merged with UNISA and I became the director within the Student Affairs Department. Now, we not only provided material for students with disabilities, I also worked with lecturers to develop accessible learning programs. That's curriculum development. I did a number of presentations. Also, I attended a number of workshops as well, conferences, and went to 6 states in the United States to look at how they cater for students with disabilities. As the program director or facilitator has already mentioned, I have the various qualifications, strategic management and so on. Even in my retirement now, I did the strategic plan, 5-year strategic plan for the National Council for the Blind. I did the 5-year strategic plan for the KwaZulu-Natal Blind and Deaf Society. I do training on governance and leadership on an ongoing basis. The last one I did with the leadership of the National Council about 2 weeks ago. I do an article a month for the Council's magazine, Eye Opener. I do editing and research as well. In fact, currently I have 2 research projects. My hobbies are reading, and while at lunch I mentioned to Basil that last year I completed 80 books, reading 80 books. At this point this year I've completed 45. My target for this year is really 50. I produced or authored 2 novels. I'm going to launch another one the first week in December. So that's my 3rd novel. Okay. I like writing. I like music. I play the guitar. Okay. I also think of doing another novel. And I always believe in working and working and working. Unlike some people who boast that they are going to work but do nothing. In other words, this one guy who said, "Hey guys, yesterday I did nothing, and today I'm finishing what I did yesterday." I want to thank the organizers, but I want to leave you with a small poem which encompasses all disabilities, whether it's blindness, deafness, and so on. And it goes like this. I do not share your gift of sight. I cannot hear your name. I may not move as free as you. I don't quite look the same. And if I love, laugh, and live, and try day after day, deep down, you know I'm just like you. So why do you turn away? Your stairs and doors won't let me in. They barricade my way. Yet, I've the right to work. I have my role to play. I may be slow to understand. I may not stand as tall. But why should your indifference make me live behind a wall? Why do you block our freedom? Why make us fight for these rights? We are your brothers, sisters, and children. And like you, we have rights. Thank you.
Yo, if you didn't hear that piece, that's your problem. If you didn't hear it. If you didn't hear it, that's your problem. Without waste of time, that scene, it's pushing, they've changed the tire, helped by another helper along the way. They are heading. Base Peter ma respect. Ntate Shoman Khabokazi overcoming learning barriers and stigmatization. And Dade, over to you. Let's give you a chance to share. After this, we are wrapping.
Good afternoon. I hope it's not graveyard shift, ne? I hope so. As indicated, my name is Isaac Bushoman from Habokas. And then let me start by saying, aspire to inspire before your days expire, ne? You are here for a purpose. There's one verse which says, you were created with fear. It says you were wonderfully and fearfully made. You are not a mistake. Let me just indicate a quick one. Obstacles overcome. It's personal, and I'm talking from the heart. I failed sub A, sub B, standard 6, standard 9, standard 10. I'm a TUT dropout after repeating standard 10 again. But of all those, I'm going to dwell on just one, which drained me. The rest, the others, they didn't that much. I think sub A and sub B, I was still very young. I don't remember how I felt. But that one of standard 6, hey, it really drained me. I started knowing how to pray in that December. I asked my father, not telling him actually what was happening. The thing was in my mind, how am I going to walk 10 kilometers to school and back when the people I was with in standard 6 are now in standard 7 and I'm still in standard 6? That was my biggest problem. I don't think I'll ever pray that prayer that I prayed that year. I've never done it. So, cut long story short, the prayers were answered, in case somebody's asking. Because what happened was they took more standard 5s and they had to take a little bit of a number, create the space, and I was in that portion. So I didn't repeat standard 6, but the others I repeated. Now, I grew up without a car at home, and I loved cars so much till today. And I told myself, when I grow up, I'm going to have a car. And when I was looking, because when you want to do something, you start looking, you start, aligning yourself. I saw those that have cars and they're taking them to the backyard mechanics, and what happens to the cars was totally uncomfortable. Then when I was in standard 4, I decided my career. I said, I'm going to be a mechanic because I want to fix my own car. And today I'm a mechanic. Then, some will know, when you are in standard 8, they ask you, what career do you want to do? No, mechanic. Then second option, none. This or nothing. Standard 10, the same thing. Psychologists come, what are you going to do? Motor mechanics. Second option, none. Now, long story short, today I'm not only a motor mechanic. That car is now cars. And now I checked how difficult it was for me to become a mechanic. Then I said, no one is going to suffer the sufferings I went through to become a mechanic. Then I decided I'm going to teach. By the way, I forgot to tell you, when I was young, I hated teaching. But only to realize it was not teaching I hated. It was the method used, because I learn in a particular way. I'm a slow learner. The lady who was talking here saying she failed and the mother is on the wheelchair, I can relate. When you have to learn, when somebody takes 1 hour, I take 3 hours to learn the same thing. So I just had to learn who I am, how I operate, and maximize who I am. That's what I did. Then today, I have a motor workshop. I have a training center where I take TVET college theoretical graduates. We give them practical on-the-job training until we take them for trade tests to become artisans. And this is done nowhere else but in the township where the learners live. Some people said, no, take it to town, Pretoria West, North. I said, no, the township is the right place for this one to happen. I was advised by both blacks and whites saying, when I told them what I want to do, they said, no, you are dreaming. Forget it. You will not train artisans in a township. As we speak, we qualified 95 artisans in a township. 24 of them are ladies. They are working on cars. I was just told the other 8 have passed trade tests this week, adding to the 95. Now, what we also do, we take those who are slow learners. We have the people who are not making it academically in schools. They end up, some who are lucky, they go to special schools. They do year 1 to year 4. After year 4, they can't go anywhere. They can't even enter. They don't meet the minimum criteria for TVET college. Some few weeks back, I was lucky to be in a meeting with the basic education minister, and I posed this one, and then I asked for the plan for those people because they are not meeting the higher education criteria and they are pushed from the basic education. They are in this gray area. She said, Mr. Tshwane, honestly speaking, we don't have the plan. Then I said, from the 3rd of May, I started creating a pilot for them. In my workshop, I created the space where we train them according to their own pace and their own way of learning. And as we speak, those 6 have now written the N1 without being at the college. We trained them there and then we took them for exams. And the results are amazing. 1, remember we're talking about somebody whose parents told me he cannot write a WhatsApp. He must do the voicemail. The voice note. Now, the same parents are telling me, hey, our son is now sending us the WhatsApp messages. Wow. The same boy failed all 3 subjects that he was writing. The first one is 18%. The second one is 36%. The third one is 38%. With the 2, he missed by 4 and by 2 to just pass those subjects. And we congratulated him. He did so well. The second one passed 1, failed 2. And that one was 50%. The third one, 2 out of 3. But the 4th and the 5th, they got 3 out of 3. And the 6th one got 4 out of 4. So we are just creating that environment. And those people, some of them started to build cars. We took a car and a helicopter to show to the Deputy Minister and the Minister of Higher Education. We're talking about the car that you can drive. When we were going to Beachwood Hotel, we were driving 120, and that car, which was built by the person who failed grade 8 5 times and quitted school. We were invited to Parliament in 2019 with the boy to say, here's somebody without formal education, he built a car and a helicopter. And today we have 4, those are the separate ones, 4 that are talented. Because when we realize that this person is talented, we create an environment for them to bring what God put in them from birth. So, don't undermine yourself. you must just strive to use that gift. If you go to Proverbs 18 verse 16, it says, your gift shall create a space for you in the world, and your gift shall bring you before the great men. When I add it, I say, if you use it. If you don't, forget it. It won't materialize. So, it's late afternoon, and we are saying, if Habakkuk can do it, being led by somebody who failed that many times, much more can still be done. And if it is to be, it is up to each one of us to work up to the greatest potential that God created us for. Remember, you were created in his image and likeness. Therefore, what he can do, you can do as well, because you are the co-creator. All that you need is tap into your conscious mind. Keep feeding it positive information. You can do it. You can do this. You can overcome this. And don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise. You are the master of your own destination. No one should dictate to you in any way, form, however. So with those words I say, aspire to inspire, you start with yourself until you reach your potential. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me throw this challenge to the institution, to the leadership that has organized the event, SRC, what you have done. Let it not stop here. If I'm going to see you next year, these things you don't know what happened. I would like to see a student in a wheelchair in the leadership, heading the portfolio. Let us make it practical. Let it not end with the campaign. Let it also be actioned. I know where the man who is heading it, he's got passion with what he's doing, and he will help the leadership to see that happening. Let's see disabled in the leadership. Let it not just be a campaign of individuals that can just write speeches and make history of telling people with their paper. Let's look around the institution and saying, how do we make sure there is a balance based on the policies that we have adopted in what we have raised? Let it not only be the awareness, but let it be practical. Let's take it to the next level, this challenge. You have approved this one. You have made it this one. Now, let it not stop there. Take it to the next level. We are moving on. Department of Labor. Department Yabasebenzi. Takalan. Now I'm going to try to read this name. I want to read it. And I've made it a decision. I'm not going to ask. I just want to read it to see if I can read it. Tanganadzani. Tanganadzani. How? Now I've tried it now. Now I've delivered it. Correct it now. I wanted to deliver it first before it get to be corrected. From the department.
I'm happy that you read the surname correctly, but also to say I'm standing on behalf of Takalane. So I will tell her that you read the surname correctly. So I'm thinking that everyone who's here is expecting me to say Ndimasheroni. Because now the program says Takalane, but I'm going to say Molweni. Yes. My name is Taba Pupuma. from the Department of Employment and Labor. I am here with my colleague, Ms. Itumileng Mugare. She's also from the Department of Labor. We are career counselors at the Department of Employment and Labor. When we received the invitation, we thought, yeah, we know this is also a platform to also share to the students what we also have in the Department of Employment and Labor, especially where we are as career counselors. But firstly, I just wanted to share this joke, and I want you to come up with the answer at the end. I'm not going to be long. There was this security guard in this company. So as a security guard, his role is to make sure that he checks people who are coming in and he checks people who are coming out. So he will check and search you to see if you have not stolen the company's things and all those things. You came with what you came with and you leave with what you came with. So there's this gentleman, every afternoon when he leaves, he will leave with boxes. He'll be carrying boxes, he'll be driving a wheelbarrow, carrying boxes. And this guy would search these boxes every day, but he would find nothing. So this would always puzzle him, and he would be cracking his skull. What is this guy stealing? Oh my God. Mr. Moodley has given it away because at the end of the week, he found that this guy is coming out with these boxes, but the boxes are empty. So he asked this guy, "What is it that you are stealing? Because I'm sure there's something that you are taking away from the company." So Mr. Moodley has given it away. The guy was actually stealing wheelbarrows. So every day of the week, he left with a new wheelbarrow. And the security guy was busy looking at the boxes. And the boxes had nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So before I go into what I think I was called for today, I'll just give you a brief background of the section where we are coming from. We are a section called Public Employment Services within the Department of Employment and Labor. It's a fairly new section because we had the skills and development section when employment and skills development before there was that promulgation where the SETAs moved to the Department of Higher Education. So we had employment and skills development in the department. So when they moved, there was this gap now as to say what is it that will happen with what was originally happening with the SETAs within the department as they moved to the Department of Higher Education. So there was a public employment services that came as a result of the Employment Services Act number 4 of 2014. So public employment services, because we're the Department of Employment and Labor, one of the rules is to promote employment and improve access to the labor market for work seekers. So we have two legs within public employment services. We've got work seeker services and we've got employer services. I've got pamphlets that I will leave with Mr. Mutlatledi, so he will share with you if you need the information you can also get from the pamphlets that he will share with you. We've got work seeker services. Some of you might already be aware we have a database at the Department of Labor where we register work seekers. You can come in as a work seeker because you have been laid off work. So we are talking about UIF applicants who need to be reintegrated back into the labor market. So they would come into the department to apply for the UIF benefits, and in the process of them being registered and applying for their benefits, they are also registered to to be reintegrated back into the world of work by being registered on the Employment Services of South Africa database, which is shortly ESSA. So the ESSA, what it does, it's a database where we also we register work seekers, but also we register opportunities. So we canvass for opportunities, we go out to employers, we look for opportunities where we are able to place people in those opportunities. It's not an easy job because we can see what the economic climate looks like, but it's something that we are striving towards, to place people in employment, and we are in small steps we are achieving the goal. But also at the same time, we've got employment counselors like myself and Ms. Itumeleng there, where we provide employment counseling to our clients. So the ones that would be coming to register for UIF, or you as a young person, as a work seeker who says, I'm looking for employment, how can you assist me? You register on the database, and then we also assist with the employment counseling, we assist with the career information. We also do employment enhancement programs to assist work seekers to enhance their employability and better their chances of finding employment or suitable employment in the workplace. So we've got that side of public employment services, and we also got employer services. So when I was also talking about public employment services, I did indicate that the database registers work seekers, but it also registers opportunities. So when we've got opportunities, we will register you on the database, and then we will match you with an available opportunity. So we get opportunities, and as you would know, the employer will be specific to say what they're looking for. So we will be guided by the specification of the employer. Then we register the opportunity with that specification, and it will give us names of people who qualify. But I would like you to also go a step further and not rely on someone matching you for the opportunity. Go to the system yourself, register yourself so that you are able to see when there are opportunities that are available, and you can also apply for the available opportunities. That information you will find on the booklets that are there, I will leave with Mr. Mutlatledi. Is that okay? Yes. Mr. Moodley was asking something, a question here. When he was doing his poem, he asked a question: why must we fight for our rights? It's a very important question. Why must we fight for our rights? It's the rights that people, all other people have. But why is it that people with disabilities must fight for their rights? Hence, in order to remove the barriers and that are created by the stereotypes that are out there, and if I can add, the ignorance of people that are out there, then the government came up with laws to try and curb or deal with the unfair discrimination. So we'll be talking, for example, of the Employment Equity Act, which is there to assist also for these reasons, so that it can assist people with disabilities in terms of removing unfair discrimination and promoting equity in the workplace. So the Act protects persons with disabilities and others against unfair discrimination, and as previously disadvantaged groups, disabled persons are eligible to benefit from the affirmative action programs. So we've got those laws that are put in place. The speakers that we're talking today, they talked about policy, the documents that need to be there to guide us. And a lot of emphasis was made on the fact that the policies are there, but they are not gonna implement it themselves. But it is important that we have policies for these reasons, that when policies are put in place, they are put in place to make sure that things are done in a correct manner. So when I would like to advise that, okay, this is a good platform that the school has created, because now it has given you empowerment. And Unsiki talked about empowerment and said that now that you are empowered, you are agents of change. you are going to live here as students, and this is preparing you for the world of work as well. Because once you live here, you are going to go and find employment. And when you find employment, you need to understand what you need to do when you get into the world of work. You're going to find challenges. So you need to make sure that you fight for your rights. You stand up for your rights. In fact, let me not say fight for your rights, you stand up for your rights. How do you stand up for your rights if you don't even know what your rights are? You understand? So when you get into the world of work, each and every employer needs to have a policy in place to say this is how we are going to treat people with disability in the workplace. And when as a person who's starting in employment, one of the first things that you need to know, what is the policy? Where is the policy? And in this program that we have here, there's a very important thing that I read on the theme. It says nothing about us without us. The policy was there, designed by somebody else in your absence. Now you come in, you need to see what the policy says. And you have to give your input, because when it was designed, it was not designed with you in mind. Ne? You are a unique individual. It might have been designed for somebody else in mind, but not you specifically. You have other things that you feel that, this should be added into this policy. So if you keep quiet and you don't open up and stand up for your rights, then your voice will be lost somewhere. But if you come into the workplace and say, okay, I'm a person with disability, make yourself visible. I'm a person with disability and I know my rights. Where is the policy that talks to people with disability? Read the policy and say, you know what I see here doesn't look right for me. How about the policy be adjusted in order to include this and that? You understand? Yeah. So this is very important that you were given this platform so that you are also empowered as what you need to do when you leave for the world of work. As I had said, what is the support that you need to be given when you get to employment? This will just be something general. The points that I will cover here, that the policies usually include, is something general. But as I'm saying, that you have ideas, you have unique ideas that you can also come up with and add into the policies in your workplace. So the employers need to ensure that measures are put in place so that persons with disabilities are recruited, retained, and are reasonably accommodated. There's a certain percentage that they put, which is very small, that the employers must achieve in their employment equity targets. For me, I think it is small, which is something that we could also challenge. Why must it be 3%? Why must it be 4%? Why can't why must we have that percentage? We must just employ people with disabilities because they are capable. Like we are also like the able-bodied people. So there are those percentages that need to be looked into, and the employers must strive to achieve those employment equity targets. You come into the workplace, you see that I'm the only disabled person here. So why is it that the department or the employer has not employed other people? It is your right to say, what does the act say? What does the legislation say? What I'm seeing here is not what is supposed to happen. So I'm trying to talk into how things are supposed to be. Ne? You must feel free to disclose your disability. Like they were talking here about not hiding your status. Don't hide your status. Tell them that I have a disability. You need to be protected. They must provide a reasonable accommodation for you, and also they must create a culture that is sensitive to people with disabilities. I was speaking to it and saying that this awareness should also be extended to other students. It must not only be talking to us as people with disabilities, but other students as well, so that this culture that is sensitive can also be created within the university, which is something within the college, which is something that needs to also happen when we are in the working environment. The employer needs to ensure that persons with disabilities have access to employment, to promote recruitment and retention, not only recruitment, but also retention, so that we don't find that people are employed today and tomorrow they are they are leaving the department because the conditions are not suitable for them to work. And they must promote awareness, they must promote understanding and acceptance of the needs of persons with disabilities amongst other employees as well, so that when this culture of being sensitive to people with disabilities is created, other employees are also aware. Like I'm saying, that this should also be extended to other students. Promote a safe and healthy working environment. That's the right of the employer to promote a health and safe working environment for people with disabilities, and also for prospective employees, and for those that are also within the department, to ensure that also people who are currently employed by the employer are able to develop and progress and are afforded the same privileges that are afforded other people. So if there are bursaries that are available in the department, let others also be afforded the opportunity. If there's training that is available, let the training methods be changed so that people with disabilities can also become accommodated, so that we don't find the situation where we say, no, she cannot attend because we cannot accommodate her. So those also need to be accommodated and changed by the employer, so that we move to this inclusivity that we are talking about. To provide also emotional and psychological support for employees, as you will be employed in future, so that we are provided with emotional and psychological support, and also that measures are put in place to eradicate discrimination within the workplace, and also to make sure that reasonable accommodation is made possible for people with disabilities. So we know what we mean by reasonable accommodation, but it means that employers need to make sure that they adapt existing facilities to make them accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities. The equipment that they hire should also be adapted to make sure that it also is inclusive, to include people with disabilities. The wheelchair ramps need to be made available so that people are able to access the workplace. Easy opening of doors for people with wheelchair. Those are things that need to be in place in the workplace. Like I told you, changing training, assessment material and systems to make sure that people with disabilities are also covered. I'm trying to run through the presentation because of time. Yeah, and also we have seen the impact of COVID. Somebody talked about COVID here. It has also made us to look at things differently. So with all these other measures that we are talking about, those also need to be adapted to suit to the needs that we have now of COVID. For example, COVID has had a severe impact on everybody, and more especially, if I can say, on people with disabilities, because most of them rely on others for assistance. So when there were restrictions with the lockdown, the challenges that were put that came to people with disabilities, some of them might not have been able to adhere to these regulations. For example, if a person is deaf, and I'm wearing a mask, the challenge of him or her having to read my lips is also something else, which is something that employers need to look into. So to say umtu must be 1.5 meters away from you, and I'm using a wheelchair. Can that really be something that will be easy for me to observe? So those also are things that we need to look into. And also because of COVID, we also, like when I indicated here, I said that measures should be put in place that the psychological and mental well-being of people, also including people with disabilities in the workplace, should be looked into. The challenge that came with COVID, I think it put a lot of people under mental stress. So it's not only to say it's people with disabilities that were affected. Everybody I remember I had a lot of anxiety. I'm still trying to deal with the anxiety where I found myself finding it difficult to breathe. You know, there was times that I thought I was dying because I couldn't breathe because of COVID and the mental state that it put us through. So employers need to look into those things. How do we put measures into place to not only think that, okay, no, they will be fine. The able-bodied people will be fine, but what about people with disabilities? How do we change the systems around to make sure that they are able to work? Can we provide them with laptops if they don't have to come to the office? All those things that need to be put, the measures that need to be put into place. Yeah, thank you very much.
I told you I'll give it to you. Hey, kaloku uyamfuna soze umfumane utshini kaloku Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to say thank you very much for allowing a crazy person like me to stand in front of you today. And just let me be me. I highly appreciate it. It's been wonderful. It's been great. At this present moment, I'm going to hand over to the leadership, which is going to give us a closing remarks and some announcement. The Datsun, KZN. It's nearly there, but let me talk about the moral of the story. The moral of the story, it's basically this institution. Take that Datsun as this old car that has been there, that have seen a lot of things. And what keeps it going, it's the vision that it carries. It's the vision that it carries. The mission here was not to sacrifice friends and all of those. See yourself as the management. See yourself as the student. See yourself as the lecturer that is holding that bed. This institution has created good engineers. This institution has fed families, lecturers, staff. It keeps on going. At times it gets a puncture. At times it faces storm where the media talks negatively about it, but it keeps on going because it carries a vision. Amongst the staff, you find them disgruntled, but you find others with passion and commitment. Amongst the students, then others, they moan, they complain, but you find those with distinctions in their academics. Because this Datsun has a vision. Me and you can complain, can moan about it, but we are only guests here for a period of time. There is another generation that yet to come and experience what you have experienced, or even more than that. But to make it great, it's only me and you when we make sure that where we are given power and authority and dominion to make change, let's make sure that Datsun, when the next owner take it over, he can appreciate the previous driver of it. This is Basil Chaza, aka Forex Pastor. I've been here, I've done my job. Leadership, Refilwe, please come and take over. Oh, ngibona induna enkulu iphakamisa isandla. Wogcina ngisho. Akuso. Oh, Refilwe akasondele. Nangu umphathi omkhulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You see, I'm also a teacher, so when I feel people are not sounding the way I want them to sound, I want to hear them. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's better. It's been a long day. But I was tasked to wear the shoes of the college principal. So I'm not the college principal, I'm just wearing her shoes. And they are very comfortable. You would not believe that I'm wearing heels. On behalf of the college, we would like to thank all of you partners that came. But Refilo will do her part. But this is the message that I have. You see, as a college, we've got a long way to go. You being here touches my heart in one way, in a very, very profound and very special way. We have a long way to go. You see, when we say nothing for us without us, we are saying in the academic year 2022, we must have sports that accommodates all. We must have sports that will accommodate students with all disabilities. I was very happy when I came across students from Muteo. They are playing this sport in a hall where I forgot this. The students from Soshanguve South gave us the name. But then we said in 2021, we must start and have that sport so that all students participate in extracurricular activities. You see, we are making history as a college. When you guys graduate, I'm going to be here. And I'm going to be making the loudest noise because I know we would have done our part in this instance. When Tate Boshoman employs graduates from the college, I'm going to be here. I intend to stay in this college until I grow gray hair. Because we have started this journey together, we must finish it together. It is very important that when we start a race, we must finish it. So on behalf of the college and the college principal, we are proud of you. Can you convey this message to the parents at home? Because you are not here as an entity, but because you came from a certain household. Where I come from, when they say convey a message to your parents, I know I must speak to my father, Mr. Nkubani himself. So please convey a message. But we must also be thankful to the organizing committee, man. They have done a remarkable job from the SRC, from the campus CRC, SRC, and the committee in general. Can you please give yourself a round of applause? We must not forget, you know, when there's a student complaining, I call the SLOs. Those ones, they know that when I call them, sometimes I'm sure they don't even want to answer my phone. But when students are complaining, it becomes my responsibility. Let's appreciate what the SLOs are doing. Can you please give them a round of applause? But also, I want us to give a special round of applause to Mr. Mutlatledi. You know, Mr. Mutlatledi is a different breed. I'm going to explain. When I say different breed, I've never been to the school of the blind until I met Mr. Mutlatledi. I have some partners that we have in the college. I only knew them after I had met Mr. Mutlatledi. Mr. Mutlatledi is the reason I'm saying is a different breed. He is here now. His child is not well. His mom is not well. But he chose to be here with us. And what he does for all the students is something different. At some point, he would say, I have to go to the school of the blind because there's a student that must go there. And he's got a lot of work, but he still goes there. He comes to work early, he leaves work late, he visits campuses to make sure that students and their needs. Ladies and gentlemen, when you require gadgets, you must just know Mr. Mutlatledi is going to do the running around. Can you therefore give him a special round of applause? My parting statement to you, I want to say to you, it starts with you. Therefore, there is nothing about you that will be done without you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been a long day. Thank you for the opportunity. And afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, beautiful people. My name is Moshwadu Barefilwe, and I am the SRC from Roslyn campus. Right. So as the old saying goes, all the good things must come to an end. And it has never rang true without making closing speeches. Whether it be a conference, a big training, or a special event, just like this one. Right. I'm a person with dreams. And I believe that anything or everything starts from being a dream. All this was a dream before it was possible. There was so many hard work, so many agent meetings and everything before this happens. And I'm proud to say we've made it as Tshwane North College. We are TNC. Right, and I thank everyone for coming. I thank everyone for their support and everything, for their time to see what we have to say to the world. And I hope that the message will be sent to the world. And I say with all the confidence in the world that it will change the life of other people or some people. So as I was saying that I'm a person with dreams, I would like to make a speech in a form of a poem that is motivating. Right, are you ready? Are you ready? This thing is holding me back. Right. Dreams, desires, decisions. The dreams have been born by the desires that have been learned by your decisions. And as you take the decisions that give birth to the desires, and the desires have been taken to your own destination. These decisions are the ambitions of you to build and to live. And as you live according to your God purpose, as you live according to your design purpose, as you live according to your goals, as you live according to your dreams, and as you live for a reason and effect that you are supposed to live. And these dreams, desires, decisions are the ones that are going to drive you straight to where you have to live without no limitations. These dreams, desires, decisions are being taken by you, not by a friend, not by a mother or parent. And these dreams, desires, decisions are being driven by dedication, ambition, improvement, achievement, and time management. Because this time management shall never be taken from an hour to a second, from a second to a minute, from a minute to a week to a month, and from a month to a year. So each and obligant that we live has 365 days, and it's up to me and you. What do we do about those days? If you want to be a motor mechanic, start acting like one. You know, if you want to make a world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. With all that being said, I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the end. The me I see is the me I will be. The me I see is the me I will be. Before you do anything in life, ask yourself a question 3 times. Answer it twice. Do it once. See you again. Cheerio. Bye-bye.